Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. I was sitting around thinking to myself, what do I want to make a video about next? I've done a lot of videos, done a lot about a lot of things in the game. But I was thinking, what's a kind of unusual thing that people don't make a lot of videos about? And I said, well, I think a tier, there's a particular tier that doesn't get a lot of videos made, and that would be tier 7. I might cover more tier 7 stuff than most people because I do a lot of replay reviews, and a lot of us, I think, in this community like the mid tiers anyway. But tier 7 seems like flyover country, doesn't it? It's World of Tanks flyover country. You just sort of grind through it on your way to tier 10 and now tier 11. And it's got a couple things going against it. Number one is, well, CVS, right? There's some equipment limits, or at least that particular piece of equipment is a bit limiting. They don't tend to hold up well against 8s and 9s, and probably the biggest problem about the 8s is there are so many overpowered 8s that not only is it a tier above, you run into a Skoda T56, for example, or a Borosk in your medium or some such thing. It can be tough because there are so many tanks at tier 8, and so many of them are completely overtuned or just plain old broken. So that makes it kind of difficult for tier 7, to be honest. And you're not going to see a whole lot of tier 5s to beat up on either. But that being said, at least before the tier 11s came out, 7 was a bit of a haven. You could sort of hide from tier 10s, which were the top dogs out there. And tier 7 was pretty comfortable. Is pretty close to the final meta when you get up to tier 10. Close anyway. It still has its foot in the mid tiers kind of thing, but bit of a forgotten tier really. There's only a little over 100, is my understanding. I have 83 of them, and if you think about how many tier 8s there are, so I have 83 tier 7s. How many tier 8s do I have? 205. So twice working on 3 times as many. Tier 7 doesn't get a whole lot of love in terms of premiums and reward tanks and things like that from Wargaming. And the things that they do have are not really better. In fact, some of the premiums and reward tanks at tier 7 aren't very good. So we're going to take a look at some of the numbers here, and we're going to pick one. I've got one in mind, the one I want to play, because it's kind of the new guy on the block. We'll take a look at that, but let's see what's going on with tier 7. This is overall, and I'm getting this data from tomato.gg, so it's information that they have. This is not the entirety of the information Wargaming has, but this is what we have to use. So we're going to click on tier 7 here and take a quick look. Overall, what's the highest win rate tank? Well, it's still sort of a legacy-ish win rate. The Cheeto SP is, I guess it's maybe been around about 1/3 to half of the time that the game's been around. I'm not 100% sure when it got released, but it's fairly notorious for being pretty overpowered. It was nerfed in the recent past, so it doesn't do this well right now, but those legacy numbers are taking a while to kind of decrease because it was popular, fellas. I mean, we got 12 million games. Not the most popular at tier 7, but it was up there, and it's rocking a overall 53.8% win rate still, even though it's not doing that now after the nerf. We've got some light tanks, one in particular, the 1357 and the GF version of that. So there's 2 versions of it. This is a light tank that was not nerfed in the great light tank realignment of, good God, how long's that been? 8 years? 7, 5, something like that. So the premium light tanks did not get nerfed or rearranged very much, and that made them just plain old better than the other tier 7 light tanks. And this has always been, it was strong anyway, and then it didn't get touched in the great nerf, so it's a light tank with a pretty impressive overall 53.1%. 271 CMCDP, that is a specialized tank. There's only 449 of them. I'm not sure what that is. Promotional, maybe? I don't know what the P stands for, but some people own that. There's another fairly small amount owned. Oh, there's 47. I guess there's a lot of those actually. T23E3. I think I have that thing. So that guy is sitting at, back to the win rate here. That guy is sitting at a 52. IS2 which is a pretty good premium tank. There's a number of ISs and Tigers and Super Tigers, or whatever it is. What's the word I'm looking for? Tiger 2s. That are existing at Tier 7. Of course, the Tiger 2 is a Tier 8. This is a basically stock kind of Tiger, but it also is it Panzer Children? I think so. Centurion Gloriana, same thing. This is a Tier 8. And then we have an AT-7. So the two Tech Tree tanks that are up there are the AT-7 and the Cheeto SP. And then we've got the Oni further down here. And there's some of the usual suspects that are strong Tier 7 premiums. The 12244 is pretty good. I prefer the IS-2M over the IS-2. I think it's better, but slightly less win rate. The HTC, which is a reward tank out of one of the campaigns, one of the early campaigns, pretty strong. There's the brother, the 1357F, with a slightly lower win rate. The Kuro, the Gloriana, the AT-7, which is a very strong at Tier 7, pretty good armor, shoots really fast, and some of the other suspects, usual suspects down here. Let's take a look then. Well, what's the top DPG? Cheeto SP. This is overall. So Cheeto SP, top frags. SP drops down. That goes to the E25. I even forgot to talk about the E25, one of the more notorious Tier 7s, probably one of the most played. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks like it's fourth most played behind some of these. Now, these get ground. People have to grind these, so they tend to get a few more games put on them. But the IS, Tiger 1, and T29 are all very popular heavy tanks and heavy tank lines, so you get a lot of people playing those. Interesting. Hit percentage, the Tiger 2 Kuro. Look at that. That is a bit surprising, to be honest. The 1357 is an autoloader, and it's got the third best hit rate. That is because generally it is played by getting really close to people and not missing a whole bunch, and then its brother tank is right below it there. Spots, yeah, standard light tanks. Type 62, that's another light tank that didn't get nerfed in the great light tank nerf. Survived. The artillery are all stacked at top. That is understandable. And then look at that, at Cheeto SP. So that is going to speak to a higher win rate when you've got a very high survival as well. But this, like I said, is overall what's going on currently, because we've had a bit of a change currently. Go to recent, go to Tier 7, go to win rate, and check it out. The Oni. The Oni is the current top dog win rate in the last 30 days and has been, I think, since its buff a while back. Some more familiar tanks up there. 1357 shows up again. E25 is always up in that general area. The Eagle, 1357F. There's the IS-2M again. CC56, not bad, not too shabby. But we pretty quickly get into sub 50% win rate for a lot of the tanks at Tier 7 down here. I was looking at the wrong thing, but even so, we start getting down to the sub 50s down here. We need to add a few more because there's more to be seen. Very interesting. DPG, what do you think? Probably the Oni, correct. It's the Oni at 1173. Eagle 7, that surprised me a little bit. If we look at the win rate, Eagle 7's fourth. DPG, second. How many people are playing it? A decent amount. It's got 13,418 battles. I happen to like it. It's a pretty good all-rounder for a premium tank at Tier 7. Frags, E25, yeah, sneaky little bugger. Eagle 7, though, hanging out second. The Oni drops down, but not too far. Assist, yeah, the light tank, sure. The Setter jumps up there, and the Type 62. Hit percentage, look at these guys up there again. Pen percentage. What about spots? Yeah, the light tanks are hanging out up top. And blocked, yeah, the Oni is second right after the AT-15A. Battles-wise, where's the Oni? Are people in on it, or are they not that interested? Don't appear to be that interested. Where is it? Where are you, Oni? Have I passed you? There he is, 107,000. Not too bad. Certainly not the worst. What's the least popular? The Awful Panther. That's too bad, because that's kind of fun. You know, as I look at a lot of these tanks, a bunch of these are really fun. They're really good tanks at Tier 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to delve into the Tier 7 situation a little bit here, maybe do a little series of these things. And I'm going to start with the Oni, the current top dog. I haven't played the Oni in I don't know how long. Seems to be a decent amount of them around. They have been buffed recently, so I'm going to grab my Oni, which probably has to be equipped and set up. Absolutely. In fact, it's 2 marked. Check that out. That was a long time ago. Goofy tank. 2 big tumors there. It does have decent gun depression, but of course you can't do that where the tumors are, so that's a bit tricky. Big boxy tank. Thick armor, but not that thick these days. And as you can see, I've got nothing going on. I have 1 guy sitting there. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with the crew and the equipment. We'll set up the Oni, and then we'll go play some Tier 7, current top dog win rate, the old Oni. Well, it's a pretty good setup, actually. At least we've got a nice heavy zone that we can get over there more or less unmolested, provided I don't highlight myself. We'll go up into the northwest, and we'll start brawling. I think the whole derp gun's gone from this thing. There's 2 100mm choices now. I don't remember if this thing had the derp gun back in the day, so it carries a ton of ammo, so I have all kinds of HE. We got options, fellas. We got options. 370 Alpha, 190 to 166. Let's keep going here. Turn down the loudness a little bit. If we run the premium, we're at 370 Alpha again at 215 to 235, which is usable. And the HE drops 450, which is kind of meh. But you can see it's just a great big old land yacht. Although I am in a good situation. It's only 6s and 7s. Kind of blows my mind, actually, but I'll take it. We will take it. We're going to go to the heavy brawl. I did throw some books at the Japanese crew because I have so much of that stuff just sitting around. So why not just make this crew a little bit better? They're not amazing. I want to say they're mostly on the 3rd skill, working on the 4th, or they have 3 skills working on the 4th. Look at the 304. He's kind of scooched up here to drop bombs on those guys. I like that. Getting up there and getting her done. 5916, Scorpion. Are spotted. We don't have too many campers. In fact, we barely have any. That's actually nice. Why is the Dicker Max there? That's a weird spot. Okay. All right. Well, the T-71 has tucked over into the side there. A lot of our heavies are on this side. We need to go that way, honestly. Okay, Black Prince is just sort of driving in on him. I don't know why their light tank is there, but he is. I would love to do this without being spotted. That would be nice. There's a couple artillery, and once they see me, they're just going to start dropping bombs on me. More than likely. It's a very tall tank right here. Oh, shoot, I don't want to block this guy. Come on. Runner is not. Okay, this is where the depression is going to be a bit tricky. A great big land yacht, kind of should be able to shoot him. I did not get lit there. They have the eye. Okay, there's guys. Ugh, jeez, armor not hit. You're kidding, right? All right, let's just go get this IS T20. I'm with you, buddy. I like your moxie. I like your moxie. Okay, down goes that fella. Huh. Well, my timing on that shot was poor. Sort of losing tanks here I don't want to lose. 229 shows up, not good. And all my buddies are being dead. It's not, oh great, artillery, okay. The turret is, turret speed is messing up my timing a smidge, I would say. And I've got the Artie's attention, so I really don't want to get hit by it anymore. Need the T-20 to be careful, though. There we go. Alright. It's one of them down. T-29s, they still have a lot of tanks. Really push into the T-29. Alright, good. He takes a hit. Although, what did he get hit by the car? Not really sure how he got hit. Really could have used that hit right there. Alright, T20, I like what you're doing. Go get him busy and I'll push in. Alright, chopper's coming. Ah! Dang it. Alright, nice. Alright, let's go do this. I gotta keep this T20 alive. Gotta kill this dude off. Seriously, man, come on. That's this game, unreal sometimes, isn't it? Alright, that's Besser. 522. What on earth? Is he using the... He must be using the 90mm. He was shooting much faster than I expected. That damage all just stacked up on the same indicator. That was crazy. Alright, T20, I gotta get out of here, buddy. No sense pushing, we gotta go back. A little bit frustrated on the misses on that. I thought the gun was a little bit better. That other Hellcat just really buggered off, didn't he? He did bounce some, so we're okay on that.
Thanks a lot.
Turn this up a little bit. I'm coming, buddy. Nice, nice. T20's doing some serious work. I like it. Try to not get caught out in the open here. See, I live 304. Come on, buddy. Okay. All right. Nice. T78 died. All right. That's good stuff. All right. I got to get into shooting position because the Caro's making a move, and I'm going to miss being able to shoot at anything he lights. This is tough for this tank, this part of the game, because it just doesn't have much mobility. Now I wish I was over there. Unfortunately, I'm stuck over here. That's not great. Kill that super Hellcat, and I think we got something going on. Alright, there's their M44. That's kind of a dumb place for him, but I like it. Nice. We're going to go hide against this right here. And we'll take a look at the spotting circles, and we're going to hope that we get some shots here on these guys. Maybe they've fallen all the way back. We only got 1,200 damage. Some tough kind of misses in there, I would say. There's that guy. Alright. Is he gonna... No, he's not gonna back up. Oh, that guy's going over there. Yep, completely out of position, unfortunately. Caro took a chunk out of him. You gotta like that. I guess the Dicker has fallen all the way back, would appear. May lose the P88 on that exchange. No, maybe not. No, yeah, they got it. Well, I went all the way back. Wasn't exactly needed. T20 just had a good game, I bet. Every time I turn around, he's shooting somebody, so that's great. Okay, there we go. So Super Hellcat's dead. Yeah, I think I'm well out of position. I'm not going to get any more damage. The Dicker Max, I'm assuming, is falling back. Yeah, he's up there. Doesn't have many hit points. All right, boys, nicely done. There you go. Tier 7. Kind of curious what my 3-mark situation is going to look like. This is probably not going to help it much. Maybe a little bit. I'm slightly over average, so I may lose ground. The Tier 7 current win rate champion. Come back to tanks sometimes. It takes you a little while when you come back to a tank. It takes you a little while to sort of get warmed up with it. My timing was off on some of those reloads. Aiming wasn't fantastic. Got a little unlucky on a couple things. That one miss on the 2801 sort of drove me crazy, but all right. I needed to wait for it to zoom in more. I sold out, right? I pushed out and sold out to kill it, but I didn't take care with the shot to make sure I killed them. So all I really did was give away hit points for no good reason. If I was going to drive out and just drive in front of him and sell out to get him, I needed to make sure he died. And that is not what I did right there. So we didn't check what my 3 mark situation was before. Let's see if we're below the... Oh yeah, well below the 2 mark. Dropped down to 71.65. So my DPG on this is 1487, which puts me a little bit above. The average is 1173, so that's okay. 73% hit rate. It averages 71, slightly higher there. Battle survived at 40. It averages 28. So not bad, doing okay. Looks like I had a 3,871 damage game. Let's see what happened with the rest of the team. Did the T20, in fact, have a good game? Carl had a good game. Well, there you go. I didn't really notice that. The T20 did all right, 1,400, so he stayed in it, had 3 kills. Carl did some big work, though. He was there till nearly the end, 2,200. Their T29 did some good work, 2,900. Decent player, 10,000 battles, 5916 chopper. Pretty bog standard tier 7 battle, and it was relatively close. It really was. And it wasn't till the end that they started to really collapse. What did they do, guys? What was the enemy team's biggest mistake? Well, they pushed up onto the cap. They sort of won that flank, but then they just kept pushing in, and the guys at the cap, I was headed back. I'm not even sure any of us even got back before our campers shredded them all. So just a kind of a dumb move. How many battles do I have on the Oni? I did grind to the Oho a long time ago. I mean, I played these tanks a long time ago. So I got 130. It did. This was back in the day when it took a lot of grinding for a tier 7 to even get to a tier 8. So I'm at 130, and I'm quite certain I didn't play very much after I ground it. In fact, I'm sure that's probably the first... Oh no, I've got the crew thing on. Yeah, I didn't get any of my... I did not get any of my field mods on that because I forgot to unclick the crew thing. Just as an aside, this crew, you can see that... it's a weird setup, by the way. It's got 2 radio operators, which is dumb. But it does. That's sort of a kick in the jimmy. The way crews are set up now. But that crew was in the HT number 6, which only takes 5 crew members, so it only needs 1 radio operator. So this guy's been cooling his heels there in the Oni for probably 8-10 years. I don't know how long. And this crew, the rest of the 5 were in my type 6 or heavy tank number 6 when I did the 100 battle challenge on it. So that's why they ended up with quite a few more experience points in there. Bit of a pain. There are individual books that you could use to do that. So there you go. That's the first event. We'll take a look at some other things like best assist and most blocked and other things at tier 7. Just play around with some tier 7s and see what we got. I'll leave this set up on this. Interesting tank. Not bad now. They've definitely made it better. It's quite popular now. Its win rate. Let's just take a look at this. So 30 days, its win rate is 52. So it's a plus 3.95. Is that the best win rate differential? It sure is. So it makes bad players better, fellas. Not bad players, but it makes, it overperforms. What's the curve look like? Stats, here we go. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Huh. Expected 48, plus 4.21 at the middle ranges. That's interesting. So across the board, it just makes you better. All right. Which is generally more or less a sign that it's overpowered or overtuned. Let's call it that way. Let's agree to say overtuned instead of going, oh, it's destroying the game, it's overpowered. Yeah, not really. I mean, it's a tier 7 heavy. It has its limitations. It's extremely slow, but not bad after the buff. That's all I've got. Have a great one. See ya.